Digital date. Open.
How's it going, YouTube? This is Zeke from Digimon Plays, and today we have a match between a deck I like to call Red Flare and Imperialdramon. On the Imperialdramon side, we'll see the Vmon in the back, Davis Blade grabbing up a Gold Vdramon and a Stingmon. And then we see Gigimon hatched, digivolved into the Promo Guilmon. Then Hero of the Skies is played, drawing 2 cards. And to pass over, we're going to play down Male Birdramon. Because there's not one in play, we can play a Kiriha. This allows us to play out the new Tamer for free. Pretty optimal first turn play for that. Lots of card draw in this deck. So we see the Gold Vdramon digivolved in the back. And then digivolved into the BT3 Imperialdramon. Guilmon will promote, swing in, drawing 2 cards, one for the egg, one for itself, and it crashes to a Imperialdramon. Swinging in with the Male Birdramon, hitting into V-Laser. There's not a green Digimon in play, so he can't play anything out. Playing down Metal Greymon, revealing top 4, adding 2 Blue Flare. We're going to add 2 Metal Greymons to hand. We see the Imperialdramon promote. Swings in with jamming, drawing for the Wanimon. Then he's going to digivolve into the Dragon mode, which is a cost of 3 over a Imperialdramon. He's going to swing in and unsuspend because it is the Imperialdramon in name. Hits into the Tamer, and then we're going to digivolve into the Fighter mode so he can suspend and bottom deck the entire board. Then he's going to swing, hitting a Rookie and a Gravity Crush. And then plays out the EX4 Vmon, so he can pitch a free and draw 2 cards. So it's a bit of an unorthodox list, but I definitely see what he's going with. So Gigimon is hatched in the back. The Tamer will set us +1 memory for each because there's 2 Digimon on the field. Digivolve into Guilmon X Antibody. And then Metal Greymon is played down. Digicross of the BT10 Male Birdramon, stunning the Vmon. Digivolving into Metal Greymon X Antibody. Playing Gravity Crush. Swinging in for 2 checks. And this was actually a misplay on my part, so it is technically not stunned because it has to actually have Blue Flare in the traits in order to do that. But we hit a Hammer Spark and we end up dying there. And he did end up winning this match, but it should have just been swing, unsuspend, and swing for game this turn. So we're going to go ahead and go on into match 2. Imperial did win the first match, and I choose to allow him to go first. So we're going to see Wanimon hatched and Davis played down, grabbing the new Imperialdramon. So we're going to hatch into Gigimon, digivolve into the Promo Guilmon. And then we're going to hard play another Guilmon, digivolve into Guilmon X Antibody. Trying to get some cycle here. And then we hard play a Greymon, revealing top 4. we're able to grab the Imperialdramon from EX4. It's going to Digivolve Vmon in the back. It's a BT12 Vmon. And then he's going to hard play the EX3 Vmon, pitching a free to draw 2. And he's going to Digivolve into a Magnamon. This will pass turnover. So we'll promote the Guilmon. Swing in with Guilmon, drawing 2 cards. He's going to block. And after playtesting this deck for just one tourney, I realized exactly how much card draw you have with the entire deck. The main thing that I would say to watch out for is make sure that you, if you want to play an option, don't swing with your Guilmon first. Because if you lose that, you'll see there's a couple of times where I just have to pass turn. Play Here Are the Skies, drawing 2 cards. And then we pass turn with the new Tamer, Kiriha Nene. I will be making sure to have more Blue Flare content as well as the new Alter S decks. I have both of them built and I will be playtesting them on Friday to get more coverage for everybody. But we're going to see him Digivolve into the Magna X to pass turn back over. Gonna hatch and then gain a memory because there are 2 Digimon on the board. Doesn't matter what side they're on. We're gonna Digivolve into Guilmon X in the back. At this point, we should just be swinging with that Gale X in the front. We're not gonna draw cards, but he's just sitting there as a body currently. And if you've played against Imperial, at least the new Imperial, you know they actually have board removal now. Before it was just Megadeth, now their Digimon can actually strip sources, stun, and do all that they need. So we're going to play out Fireball. Because it can't delete anything, you draw 2 more cards. And then we're going to play Metal Greymon. This is the new one from EX4. And this was almost a misplay, but we corrected it. It has to be a blue Greymon, so I had to actually use the one on the field in order to pull this off. Switched them around there so it's correct. And this will strip the 2 sources from underneath the Magnamon. You get to pick any 2 from one Digimon. And this will remove all the armor sources, so now he actually doesn't have the ability to redirect anymore. He's an 11k vanilla at this point. The ability to just pick any 2 sources are where this card actually shines. In this case, I was able to strip the 2 so he couldn't redirect. Against Black or Gray later on, I just stripped the blocker Inheritable Greymon and was actually able to swing through for game. So it's just dependent on the matchup. I'm debating on how many of each Metal Greymon I'm going to run. You'll see the deck list at the end of this, but I've already modified it a little bit for when I play on Tuesday. So he's going to Digivolve into Lydramon, which will suspend down, and he'll swing over. He's going to go ahead and swing with the Magnamon X, hitting into the BT10 Imperialdramon. He's going to Digivolve into the Imperialdramon, and this will strip 2 sources from underneath. We're going to promote the Gale X. Digivolve into Metal Greymon X Antibody. Swinging over the Imperialdramon. And then Digivolving into Zeeg Greymon, which will unsuspend. And then punching over the Magnamon X. Just to do a little board clear of my own. And then swinging in with Guilmon X and drawing 1 card. It will crash. And this is what I was talking about. With no red source, you can't play your card draw anymore, so sometimes you just have to pass. It's unfortunate, but it would be better than hard playing something for 5 and giving him even more memory. He's gonna hatch the Wanyamon, Digivolve into Vmon, and then Lydramon in the back. And he does correct it, the memory, 2 for the Lydra and then 4 for the Ken and Davis. So hatching into Gigimon, Digivolving into the promo Guilmon. The Zeke Greymon does have save, but most of the time if it ends up dying, I just throw it into the trash because I have no way of recycling it or using it as an inheritable in this deck. But we'll play Heir of Dragons. There is a lot of Greymons in here. It does cost 1 more than the other draw spells, but you get to draw 2 and occasionally kill something too. So we're going to play out Yuya. That's the memory setter of choice. It does seem a little off to be playing Yuya in this deck, but usually you're trying to go for an OTK strategy. So whenever you go the Metal Greymon into the Metal Greymon X, you'll suspend the Yuya down, making it a 13k and not affected by options. You're usually able to either stun things out or remove their blocking capabilities. And then if you slam into something in security, you have the chance for jamming with the new male Birdramon. You're protected from options, and it's just a great little waylay of hopefully 3 security, but sometimes just the 2. He's gonna promote, gain 2 memory from the Ken and Davis, swing in, and it will crash. Counting up armors, thinking he might be going into a Magnamon here. Magnamon would actually be a pretty substantial blocker at this point. But with only 2 sources under, he would be able to be stunned by the dual Digicrossed Metal Greymon. Going to Digivolve into the Lydramon for 2. Unsuspending with Ken and Davis. Digivolving into Chimeramon. Tucking under the Flamedramon, which allows him to get those 4 colors, so now he's 12k. And he easily swings over the Z Gray, minus 4k plus 4k. Debating on how to close the turn out here. Just going to play another Ken and Davis to pass turn. So we're going to promote out the Guilmon, gain 1 memory from the Kiriha and Nene, play a Gravity Crush, because we definitely don't want to be dealing with Hammer Sparks and Security again. Drawing 2 cards for the Geo-Gigi combo. Crashing into a Vmon. We're gonna Digicross the BT Metal Greymon, BT10 Metal Greymon, with the starter deck Greymon. And then because Kiriha and Nene can grab from the trash, we'll grab the jamming male Birdramon for a cost of 3. Digivolving into the Metal Greymon X. And here's where we should have suspended down the Yuya, but I was more worried about Hammer Sparks, so we just play another Gravity Crush for good measure. Swinging in for a total of 3 checks. HPD, Magnamon X, and then Zeke Greymon here to finish out the game. So we'll go ahead and move on into game number 3. He's going to opt to go first. He's going to play out the Vmon. I asked him if he wanted to hatch. He said it really didn't matter, but you'll see he's going to hatch right here. So we had talked about it and discussed. I'm going to hatch the Gigimon, Digivolving into the promo Guilmon, and then playing out a Yuya. choking over to 1. You're going to see him Digivolve into Magna to pass the turn. And it's actually really good to stave off the chip damage against this deck. Because once you're at 3 security, it's pretty easy to bust through. So we'll start at 3 with the Yuya, playing out Heir of Dragons and drawing 2 cards. Swinging in with the Guilmon, drawing 2 more cards. He's going to opt to block it. And we're going to go ahead and pass. Yet again, no red sources, so you'll see me do that quite a bit. So I think it was either pass or put him at 5 memory, and I'd rather him just be at 3. Because I could use those as sources instead of playing them out on the field. Gonna see him swing in, and he hits another Yuya. Digivolving into Imperialdramon for 3, and into the fighter mode for 5. He had no Digimon back in raising, so I figured I was okay for 1 more setup turn. So we hatch into the Gigimon. Digivolve into the Guilmon X. And here's where we were discussing it. I was wondering if he ran Blitz Omni or not, because if he did, this was the chance for him to just completely clap back. 4 checks with that, and then go into Blitz for game. We're gonna play Hero of the Skies and draw 2 cards there. And this is where we're gonna call the bluff and just play down the Tamer to pass the turn with 1 memory. It is scary to have that Imperialdramon swinging in like that, but here it goes, 2 checks, unsuspend, smacks into a fireball, so we draw 2 cards, swings again, hits Hero of the Skies, and we draw 2 cards, and now we have 0 security, and he has a total of 5. He's gonna play out the V-Laser, mainly just trying to pass me with as little memory as possible, and he had thought that he had the Magnamon, but it was the Gold Vidramon he played out. So we're gonna promote up. We're gonna play, actually we're gonna set the memory first correctly, and then play Gravity Crush, so we're up to 6. Swing in and draw 1 for the Gigimon Egg. It's a Chimeramon, so we crash. We're gonna Digicross the BT10 Metal Greymon. Trying to see which sources we want to use. We do have the Tamer now, so we can pull from trash. If I remember correctly, I was just looking for the jamming one in hand. So there's the Security Plus Greymon, and then the jamming Male Birdramon as the sources, for a total cost of 3. Always worried about possibly dying to another Paladin mode in security. So now we go into the Metal Greymon X, suspending both of the Yuyas down. So he is now 15k, 3 checks, with jamming, and protection from options. And good thing we did that, because the first card up is a Sorai. But because of Yuya, he is unaffected by option cards. Next is Pyeldra, and then the Davison Tamer. Digivolving into Zeke Greymon, gaining back 2 memory, swinging in, and then Blitz Omni for game. So that's the way the actual combo is supposed to work, but here is his Imperialdramon deck list, and then my current Red Flare list. I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and until next time, I'll see you on the digital plane, playing the Digimon card game.